because when I first became saved, I didn't know biblical text like that. I just knew there was a feeling and a calling on my life where God was saying, my child, you cannot do the things you were doing before. You need to change. And certain things just weren't enjoyable for me anymore.
I've been all over the world, and I seem to find this rhyme, and I seem to find these times, but all the pretty girls come from VA.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl V, and I am back with another video. Hey y'all, hey. If this is your first time here on my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you hit that subscribe button so you can watch more videos like this one. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back again. We locked in, period. And then if you are someone who finds yourself watching so many of my videos but you have not subscribed as yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. I promise. Well, you already know you love it here, so you might as well just make it official, lock in, and yeah, we together real bad. Period. No, but all jokes aside, I really would appreciate it if you went ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also turn on your notifications so you can stay up to date when I post new videos. So yeah, let's jump right into today's video. So today's video topic covers something that became a huge problem for me the minute I became saved and committed my life to Christ, and that is dealing with people who are non-believers and what that looked like for me. Now, if I'm being completely honest, when I first told people that I was saved and that I was following Christ, there was a lot of mixed responses and it made me feel super uneasy. Like, I think I spoke about it in a previous video. A lot of my friends kind of looked at me like, you are so boring, so you can't do anything, or you feel like you're better than us now because you've decided that you're not going to engage in certain activities anymore. And I always try to approach every situation like, I'm not trying to change y'all, I'm not trying to judge y'all, I'm just doing what's best for me. But in all honesty, it wasn't always received that way, and I understand that. Like, y'all are used to me being one way, so when that changes, it's kind of an adjustment for everyone, because it's like, when we go out, I'm not the same Bianna I used to be. When we go out, I'm not trying to do everything we used to do. Like, I'm gonna let you live, but if it's just you and I going out and you want to get wild and like drink and stuff like that, understand, like, I'm not gonna stop you, and I'm not gonna be a Debbie Downer. I'm still gonna have a good time. I'm just not engaging in the drinking per se. I'm not engaging in, stop doing hookah, all the other stuff. Like, but I'm still in the spot. I'm still dancing. I'm still hyping y'all up. I'm still doing all these things. But yeah, I don't know. Some people seen it a different way, and understandably so. But then there were other people who would say certain things that kind of made me uncomfortable. Like, you believe in that? Or you really think he's that good? Or you think he could change your life and all these other things, and why this happened to you or why that happened to you? And it's like, bro, I don't want to hear all that. I just want to be happy about this new journey that I'm going on and what that looks like for me. I think the conflict with that, though, is that God calls us to go out and be disciple. He calls us to share the gospel, spread the good news with non-believers, because how else would they learn about what God is capable of if we don't go to them and tell them, if we aren't kind to them, if we don't put that on the forefront? So let me read to you a verse that stands out to me from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14 through 17. Yeah. And it reads as, don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness? What harmony can there be between Christ and the devil? How can a believer be a partner with an unbeliever? And what union can there be between God's temple and idols? For we are the temple of the living God. As God said, I will live in them and walk among them. I will be their God, and they will be my people. Therefore, come out from among unbelievers and separate yourselves from them, says the Lord. Don't touch their filthy things, and I will welcome you. So, we can see in that passage, it says, stay away from all of them. But then if you know Paul's story, you know that Paul was an apostle. He went out and shared the good news with all types of people. So it's kind of contradictory to who Paul was. We got to remember that Paul was talking to new believers, people new in their walk, new in their faith. And I think that's kind of the deciding factor on separating yourself from non believers. I think it's how mature you are in your walk with Christ, how mature you are when it comes to knowing your word, how mature you are when it comes to not getting defensive in front of unbelievers. And that takes time. I think towards the beginning of my walk, I was in isolation. God separated me from a lot of people. And I think it's more so not because they were bad per se, not because they were doing anything wrong. I think it was more so for the fact that I wasn't strong enough in my faith. I was still easily persuaded. So people could kind of come to me and ask me questions that I wouldn't have the answer to. Because when I first became saved, I didn't know biblical text like that. I just knew there was a feeling and a calling on my life where God was saying, my child, you cannot do the things you were doing before. You need to change. And certain things just weren't enjoyable for me anymore. I think once I had that initial reaction, that is what made me go into reading the word and getting to know God's instruction when it comes to dealing with other people. So if someone would have asked me questions or said, God ain't good all the time, because if he did, why do people suffer? God ain't good because if he was, why do people lie and people kill and people cheat and all these other things? And I personally wouldn't have had the knowledge or the bandwidth to really explain it to them. And that could have dissuaded me from continuing on my walk. So I'm not mad that he isolated me. But I feel like where I am now, about 3 years in on this journey, and now I'm at a place where I can hold conversation with people who may not believe in God, and what they say to me would not dissuade me from my relationship with God. It wouldn't turn me, because I understand that not all things are easily explained, and I understand that not all things make sense. I understand that God is a good God, but I also understand that there's a lot of evil in the world, and the two are always battling it out. And I think my faith is what carries me in those moments where I don't have the answers. Now, that's not to say that I can be around all people. There are certain things that I still struggle with, and I try not to be around people who would get in the way of that. Anything that will tempt me, I'll stay away from. I'm going to be reading from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 29 and 30, where it says, so if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to lust, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your hand, even your stronger hand, causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. So I think that goes into the fact that when you are new to the faith, do not enter those spaces where you are easily persuaded into doing things you know you should not be doing. In those scenarios, it is better to remove yourself entirely than to tempt yourself, than to play with such scenarios, because then you may fall into sin, especially as a new believer to the faith. Like I said, you don't have the sound, you don't know what literature to look to kind of help you overcome that. You may not have a circle who can help you through it. It's really falling on you. So yeah, separate yourself until you've built up enough knowledge and understanding and even faith to know that you can make it through anything when you enter certain spaces. For me, to not drink and be comfortable with not drinking, I had to stay home for a little bit. I couldn't go to bars like that. Or not I couldn't, but I just felt uncomfortable in those spaces, because it's like, what are you really doing here? Bar food is not that good, let's be honest. But I think after like a couple of months, I kind of got used to not drinking. So then when I did go out with my friends to parties or to bars and stuff like that, I was getting ginger ale, I was getting Shirley Temples, I was getting all the fruity mocktails that I could get, because I grown accustomed to not drinking in social settings, but it took growth for me to be able to get to that point. Um, so yeah, couldn't deal with people who were like, "You're being boring. You need to have a drink." Nah, I had to separate myself. Even if they were saying it in just good old fun fashion or teasing fashion, it did something different because it was something that was very serious to me. When you look at verse 14 and it says, "Don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness?" You got to think, like, there are certain people who just don't know God. There are certain people who just don't understand God's goodness. You can't fault them for that. But then there are other people who knows God's words, who understands what God says and still choose to be wicked, still chooses to do what is wrong, still chooses to harm other people. And I think for this text is saying stay away from people like that. They are so bent on doing wicked things. They're so bent on taking advantage of people. They're so bent on lying to people. They're so bent on stealing and doing all these other things. Stay away from people like that, because that's not going to cause you any good. Not to say you can't have discourse with them, that you can't converse with people like this, but don't allow them into your close proximity. Don't allow them into your homes. Don't allow yourself to do business with them, because at the end of the day, if they are wicked people and you see them doing so many wrongful things to other people, how much more do you think that they will do to you? So it's kind of being cautious to who you let around you in an intimate level. Like I said, you out in the streets, hey, what's up? Tell them all the great thing that God's doing, because we're supposed to show his words. But again, don't let them into the intimate, intricate part of your life. Go out into the world and share the good news, but don't bring them into your home, because yeah, it could wreak total havoc. And then when I read verse 16 where it says, "And what union can there be between God's temple and idols? For we are the temple of the living God, as God said, I will live in them and walk among them. I will be their God. They will be my people. Therefore come out from among unbelievers and separate yourselves from them. Don't touch their filthy things and I will welcome you." So for that, when I think of like idols, there are a lot of people who idolize money, who idolize materialistic things, who idolize relationships. And be careful with that kind of people. Again, not to not interact with them, but know that their biggest priority isn't to serve you, isn't to serve others, and isn't to serve God. And you don't want to end up in a compromising situation by being around folks like that, because it then affects your livelihood. It affects what you got going on. It affects what your potentials can be if you are around these people in an intimate way. Or it could even get you to start idolizing some of the same things, unknowingly, and before you know it, you're in too deep. So yeah, just be mindful when you know people's idols. Again, try push God on them always, but also don't be oblivious to the fact that they're not trying to hear that at all. But yeah, so like I said, if you are not spiritually mature yet, separate yourself. Separate yourself and take as long as you need to build your understanding of who God is, build your understanding of the word, build your understanding of what God's purpose is for us here on earth, before you then try to go to non-believers and spread that message. Thank you guys for tuning into today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it to the end, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Promise you'll love it here. And also turn on the notifications so you can be alert to when I post new videos. I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have an amazing week, and I will catch y'all in the next video.
New York and MIA, then it's PG around my way, so I'm never had to stay away.